Good afternoon, it's Kate here, your content alchemist with some content gold on a Wednesday lunchtime. We're in week 4 on our ongoing series on giving you insights into different types of content. And if this is week 4, that means we're halfway through November. Does anyone else wonder where the hell it went? So if you are panicking about the fact that that C word is getting closer and closer, here's a little distraction for you. We're going to be hearing today from Katie Foster from Destination Freedom. Katie, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm great. Thank you, Kate. How are you?
I'm really well. I'm really well. So we are going to be talking to you about visual styling. Tell us a little bit about what visual styling is, who you are, and what it is that you do exactly.
Okay, so I'll start with the visual styling. So it's very similar to kind of branding, really. It sort of sits in that arena. So I focus predominantly in my work on working with entrepreneurs and small businesses, helping them to really kind of bring themselves and their personality alive through the visuals that they use in their business. At the moment, I work mainly in the online arena. So it's really just, you know, when there's so much competition out there these days, isn't there? You know, there's so many businesses within the same arenas as each other. And, you know, everything can get a bit vanilla. You know, everybody sort of tends to blend in. So visual styling is really about taking your personal style, your personality, you know, who you really are right now in this moment outside of your business, and infusing that into the visuals for your business so that your personality is there, and that then helps you stand out in the crowd. Because, you know, in this day and age, with so many businesses competing, you know, we buy people, really. So people are looking for that individualness that kind of speaks to them in a different way. So that's what I do within visual styling, and that's so Destination Freedom, my business, is really, it's about, I work, as I say, with businesses, really helping them to create freedom for themselves within their businesses. So I take all of that, what can sometimes feel like heavy lifting of doing the visual stuff and using these online tools and that type of thing. I take that off of their plates and do that kind of work for them, giving them more freedom to really focus on what their zone of genius is within their business. So yes, that's generally what I do.
Fantastic, brilliant. And it's fair to say that, in fact, in recent months, the visual styling for Creative Words has actually been done by Katie. So we've spent quite a bit of time together working on, you know, what's my style, what's my voice, and where that works in visuals. So that gives you an idea about the kind of thing she does for us. Now, when we're talking about visuals, why in the world of online and content is the visual so important?
I think because, as I mentioned before, you know, you need to stand out. You need to stand out online in whatever way you can. And, you know, and the same is online and offline. You know, the competition is still fierce in the offline world. But the main way to stand out, really, that I feel is lacking is to inject that uniqueness of who you are into what you do. And, you know, I know that I'll put my hands up to being a very fussy internet surfer. And I know it's a little bit of a flaw, but, you know, I'm known to just to go onto a website, and if immediately there's nothing about it that kind of grabbed me visually, and that's not even just the images, that's in the wording and the layout and the whole kind of shooting match. then I'm on and off really quickly. So, you know, we're visual creatures. You know, we are enticed by what we see.
Yep.
So, you know, being able to capture somebody within those first few seconds really of coming into your online space is so important. And one of the great ways that I focus on in doing that is through the visuals. And, you know, and when we marry that with the content that's then with posting on social media, it just creates this cohesiveness that makes you pop, and people get to know you in a different way. You know, when they read your words or listen to audios or watch videos of you and then go to your website, and the visual aspect of that then marries up to what you're seeing, and you can really see their personality, then that just gives you an extra leg up that a lot of people aren't taking advantage of.
Yeah, great. Now, you've written the blog for us, so thank you very much for that. That will also be live and in the show notes, which I think are above us. I can never remember if they're up there or down there in the Facebook feed. But that includes a link to the blog that Katie has written, and she goes into more detail about all of this. And you talk about your go-to tool when it comes to visuals as Canva.
Yes.
So what is it about Canva in particular that makes it great for a small business?
I think for me is that there's so much simplicity. You know, there are other sort of creation tools out there. You know, you've got your Pick Monkeys and Photoshop and all of those types of things. But for me, I've always found that with Canva, there's so much flexibility. So you've got thousands and thousands of templates to choose from it for any type of graphic that you would want to create. So whether it's social media graphics or ebooks or documents or presentations, and they update what they offer all of the time. So they're now, you know, you can now turn graphics into animations and videos, and you can post directly to social media from Canva, which is a new thing that I found out actually. I was like,
we need to talk about that offline.
We must. So there's so much that they are developing. But the template range is really, really great quality. And the great thing about templates is that if you don't have the first idea about design, and in fairness, you know, for me, I just have a love of creativity and an eye, I think. But I'm not, you know, officially trained as a graphic designer or anything like that. But for me, creativity is just about letting yourself out and just have a go and a play. So the great thing about Canva is that you really can do that, you know, so you can just scroll through the templates and really select something that calls to you in a certain way, whether it's that it's got, you know, I created a graphic for a client, and she was like, you just got that bang on straight away, because what I'd done, it's like I'd used a template, but it had like this sort of splashy section to it where you could drop the text in and stuff. So it was a little bit loose and a little messy around the edges, but it was really perfect for her and the way that she is and loves to show up. And so there's all those types of things. So when you're scrolling through and selecting, you know, have yourself and your personal style in mind, you know, your personal visual style. And then it's just a case of dragging and dropping. You know, they show you where to put text. You can upload your own images. You can upload your own fonts as well. And it's so flexible, and just one of those, for me, one of those platforms where you kind of really can't get it wrong. As long as you just play, you know, it's very easy, and it's very easy to sort of rinse and repeat with Canva as well. You know, once you've decided on a set sort of style for a blog header, or, you know, how you want to do your social media graphics, then, you know, you create that as your own template, and then it's just a case of, you know, just switching out images and text, but everything else is there ready for you. So it's super easy. And a lot of fun actually to just play with. can lose hours on it
playing.
playing.
I can see it being a bit of a thief of time, though. If you get
Yeah.
I mean, I can use Canva all the time as well, and I love things like, okay, I need to do a Facebook header. Here's a template that's exactly the right dimensions and will fit and will work. And it's got all of the main social media image proportions, all the kinds of things you need for a website. And I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah,
it just makes it so easy.
It does. But also, sorry.
Go on.
But also for, for anybody who's a little more advanced, knows about design, that kind of thing, it's great for that as well, because you can completely customize any design you do on there as well. You can set your own dimensions, and it comes up as a blank, whatever that dimension is, and you can design away. So it's a great fit for all levels, I think.
Yeah. So if you were going to give people sort of the top 3 things about getting going with Canva, top 3 advice that you give to someone who's just starting out, what would those be?
I would say I've probably, I've possibly sort of touched on a couple of those in what I've just mentioned, but so certainly like templates. Mm-hmm. When you're selecting the templates, just really tune into your taste, mm-hmm. and kind of follow that. And don't, it's not about following or other coaches do it this way, or other accountants do it this way, or, don't look in the marketplace. This is about your visual representation, your visual style. So, choose what speaks to that, and then play around and put your text in and whatever it is that you're creating. So that would be one of my tips. Also use the photo editor. Is fun to play with. So once you've you've got your images, if you've uploaded your own, or there's tons of stock images that you can use on Canva as well. There's like things like filters and tints and that type of thing, which is great, because if you're looking to create a certain feel for an image, so say you want something quite vintage, but you don't find the perfect image that's coming in that kind of color scheme, maybe that sort of black and white or sepia tone, you can find other images and tint them up to create the look that you want, and change the brightness. We do that
quite a lot for the Creative Words images, don't we? Because we want that slightly vintage feel to sort of tie in with the alchemy theme. And I know that you've quite often we get here's it in this tint set, and here's this tint set, and here's this, which one works best, kind of thing. And it's actually quite fun to be on the receiving end of that as well, because it's like, oh, I like that. And I like that image, but not for this. Save it for another day. And I mean, save those images because I like them. We're going to use them somewhere.
Yeah. So it's great fun to play with. And and you can chop it. I know for one of your images I've sort of taken 2 different images and managed to sort of blend them, and so you can really just play. And then they've, with Canva, it's now called Canva 2.0, so they've kind of done an upgrade and an update, and you get that as the free version. There's a free version and a paid for version on Canva. And so there's now a really good search tool. So, if you kind of just go into templates and you start looking at them, it's a bit overwhelming. So even though they're broken down into sort of sections for social media and documents and that type of thing, there's now an extra search where you can put in sort of business sectors, something that your client might be interested in, that kind of thing. So that cuts the time down. Anything that's going to cut the time down, I highly recommend, because if you're, whether you're visual or not, we can get quite drawn in with looking at all the pretty things, or quite frustrated. So whatever you can do to cut the time down. So yeah, use the search facilities. They would be 3 of my top tips.
Katie, that is fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, if anyone out there is looking for a visual stylist to help them with their business, how can they reach out to you? How can they get in touch with you?
The best way to get hold of me and get a quicker response from me is to email me directly. That is Katie, Katie, at destinationfreedom.co.uk.
Great, fantastic. And we'll put that in the show notes as well. So, which I can't remember. So that people can reach that and can reach out to you. And again, it's in the blog as well. So, Katie, thank you very much for your time and your words of wisdom today. Next week, I'm going to be talking to Casey Woodward, who is a podcast producer, and he's going to talk to us about how to get going on podcasting. So that's it for this week. If you happen to know of anybody else who'd be interested in knowing more about Canva, or who might need a visual stylist for their business, or just somebody who's exploring how they can make content work for them, I can do the words thing, really I can. Then you can share this post or tag them down below. Until next week, have a golden afternoon.